So this is the second day in a row that I've come in feeling lethargic, feeling kind of not the strongest, just over fatigued, under recovered, whatever you want to call it. So I came in, I did exactly what I always do. I tried to kind of shake off the mental fog, if it is a mental fog. Got up to a working weight, which is 190 kilos, and I only managed 3 reps. 3 reps because it was just basically too heavy for working weight type of scenario. It was just way too heavy. Once again, it probably looks not too bad on the screen, but I was giving my everything into the bar, and it was moving. It felt slow and heavy and basically too hard for me to get 3, 4, 5 sets out of this. So I called it there, racked it, sat down, and I just thought to myself, okay, I can just basically, close shop here and just head back in the house, and that's it. And then, the cycle continues. So these 2 days, yesterday and today, feeling real tired. There was another day, probably 5 days ago, where I actually felt the same as well. And that was when I kind of got into that 190 kilo range. So I think it's fair to say that I've kind of found my limit of what my body can kind of tolerate at the moment. Yes, I can hit 190 for 3 sets of 5, but I need more than 1 day off in between. I probably need 2 days off in between. So I kind of finished the session. I was sitting there for a good 20 minutes thinking about it all. And I basically just started looking at the footage, and I was realizing that, and I was also feeling the same thing, that I was having lots of difficulty kind of below the parallel portion of the squat. I was having difficulty stabilizing the lower back. I was having difficulties getting out of the hole. The weight kind of felt all right after parallel, but it was basically my core, my hip flexors, my core. I wasn't able to stabilize my lower back, and that was kind of giving me the sensation of, this is too heavy, I'm working too hard. So right now, the way the plan is, I'm hitting squats real heavy for heaps of volume one day, and the next day I'm doing deadlifts. Yesterday, I kind of eased off the of the intensity on the deadlifts. I only managed 200 kilos, and still today I've come in feeling kind of off. So this is going back to that same, dilemma of deadlift, squat, intensity, volume, all that sort of stuff. One hits the other hits, the other, blah, blah, blah. So I was kind of sitting there for 20 minutes after the session. I thought, why don't I play around with box squats? Now, where the hell did box squats come out into my mind? Where did they come from? Well, last few days, as always is the case, I always kind of head back to the same kind of sources. Pavel Tsatsouline, Matt Perriman, Louis Simmons. I love listening to Louis Simmons because he's basically a savant of lifting. Yes, I know. He is an equipped lifter, coach, extraordinaire. He doesn't do raw. He doesn't do any of that. I get that. I still think there's a lot of value in listening to a man like that who's devoted all of his life to this game. So I'm hearing him talk about his beloved exercise, which is the box squats. And he speaks volumes about it, both for athletes in the field, on the court, and also guys in the gym. So today I kind of finished off the session, and I thought, really, I'm feeling quite strong in that kind of box squat and up position. So I thought, let's just screw around with this. I'll put 2 plates on and I just kind of mess around. This was basically playtime for Vivan. The training session was over, and I'm supposed to just mess around like I like to do. Today's session was really short. It was something like 45 minutes, and I just felt like I hadn't had enough fun. You know what I mean? Like, I want to have fun. I also want to train. The training is limited because I'm fatigued, but I wanted to have fun, have some fun time. And so I just started messing around, thinking about these things as I love to do. So then I set up the bench, and the bench is way too high for a box squat here. It's just way too hard. I kind of looked around the place, and I thought about putting those blocks down and sitting on those blocks that I have, that I use for block pulls. But the way the concrete is in the middle, it kind of dances around, and I didn't want to have an unstable platform, so I just went, screw it. Let's just use the bench, and it is what it is. So I went 1 plate, 2 plates, and I thought, well, this is feeling really damn easy. Completely opposite to what I was feeling in the squat. Like I said, the squat, the back squat, I was having lots of difficulties in that bottom portion. I was just getting absolutely fried. My core was done. But my legs were fresh. And so that upper portion of the box squat, I was just like smashing it. So then I went to 3 plates, 4 plates, and ended up going to 200 kilos for 5. Yes, if you're fatigued, you shouldn't be doing this thing. I was kind of thinking to myself, Ivan, what the hell are you doing? You're eating away further into the whole fatigue bank, into the whole recovery. Why are we doing this? I didn't plan to do this. I was, like I said, the training session was finished. I was just messing around, having fun. And then started feeling really good. I started kind of exploring a different type of strength curve with the box squats. And I loaded up 200. Just goes to show me, goes to show you that when you are done training, when you feel like you're absolutely spent in one exercise, it doesn't mean you're done overall. I started feeling energetic. I started feeling really good with the box squats because I wasn't going into that range of motion, which is taxing that body part, which is basically spent. Those hip flexors are absolutely gone. The core is absolutely gone, and I just couldn't stabilize the ATG position. But I could smash the hell out of the parallel or just above parallel, whatever you want to call it, quarter squat, box squat. So that was basically my session. What the hell do box squats do? Well, the way Louis Simmons teaches the box squat is not the way I did it. Louis teaches a very kind of sumo stance squat, vertical shins, sit way, way back, and then get up. Why did I not do that if I listen to Louis Simmons? I feel the way Louis teaches the squats, I feel like it's for geared lifters. Now, I'm not an expert in gear lifting at all. I'm somebody that's never freaking touched a belt in his life, let alone knee sleeves, knee wraps, squat suits, all of that sort of stuff. But what I've heard is the way Louis teaches the squat is basically for people that have single ply, double ply, triple ply, whatever the hell it is, squat suits. Because you kind of sit into the suit and the suit kind of propels you kind of like a bow and arrow. Like, you kind of pull that string and it flicks you forward. So if you sit straight down, you're not really using that elasticity that the suit is providing. So you don't want any knee travel. You want to have vertical shin. You really want to kind of stretch your ass into that fabric. The way I was doing it is basically thinking about my sport and the way I like to squat, which is lots of knee forward action, going down and kind of feeling the same musculature and just basically stopping, kind of like a pin squat. Mind you, I thought about doing a pin squat today as well, but I opted out for this because I felt like it would be an easier kind of way to just quickly load it up. And it will be an easier way for me to feel my hips and sit back and all of that stuff. The pin squats are great, but I feel like the pin squats are really good for like top end weight. What is the difference between the two? You just have a tactile feel with your hips hitting the bench, basically, or the seat, or whatever you want to call it. There's like a different sensation. That's all I can really think of. And the fact that I was listening to Louis last few days talk about this, I thought, let's just mess around with this. So 200 for 5, yes, it's not the proper height that I should be at. It should be kind of like a parallel. So maybe the next few days, I don't even know what I'm going to do with this. I mean, what I really want to do is recover quicker, recover better so I can hit my 190s. But now this is kind of the third session, I want to say in a week and a half, where I've come in under-recovered. So what do I do with this? Well, I can reduce the volume, reduce the intensity, reduce the frequency. I can play with any of these parameters. Basically, I've hit a point where my body's like, okay, we can't do this no more. The reason why, kind of the thought which made me want to do these box squats is because tomorrow night I've got a night shift and the following night I have a night shift. So 2 night shifts. So those training sessions are going to be subpar anyway. So I thought, I kind of was messing around initially with the box squats and I thought, screw it, man, let's just mess around with them. Let's push them harder. Because tomorrow is going to be a half-hour session. The next day is going to be a half-hour session. And so, whatever, I'll have time to recover. That's kind of the way my brain thought mid-session, although night shifts are not exactly recovery material. But the sessions are going to be tapered back. Going to auto-regulate the hell out of them. So there you go. A lot of you guys have been asking me about box squats over the time. I've messed around with box squats kind of around the same kind of period where I was messing around with pin squats initially when I was kind of thinking about the whole process. It's a really good way. It's a really good way to kind of hit that top portion of a squat. For me, it's a top portion. And it just goes to show me that basically, one part of me was fried, the other part wasn't even touched. The quads got a bit of a pump. The quads were underdone hardcore, which makes me think down the track now, if I'm going to be, adjusting the training, it's probably most efficient, most beneficial for me to adjust the intensity. I still want the frequency to be every other day for heavy squat sessions, but I think 190 is a bit too hard for my body. And for me to go on and do another day in basically 4 days' time to hit another day or 190 for 3 sets of 5. Ultimately, I want to be hitting 5 sets of 5 more often than not. If I linger in this 190 period for the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and I keep messing around with 3 sets of 5 and I can't get any further, and if I go further, I'm probably going to tax myself even more, and then, more of a recovery period. So I think, as I'm sitting here right now, I think it's better for me to get 180 kilos. I have to think about this a bit more, obviously, but as I'm sitting here, I'm thinking it's probably more beneficial for me to hit 7 sets of 5 sets of 5 or 180 than to get 190 for 3 sets of 5. I have to think about this a bit more, because right now, 3 sets of 5 at 190, I can't keep up to every other day. So basically, you could say that I can hit it twice a week, 3 sets of 5. So that's 6 sets of 5, right? 30 reps. Whereas if I hit 180, I can hit it 3 times a week and hit 5 by 5. So we're talking a lot more sets, right? So that's I don't know. It's one of those things, you got to pick your poison. I don't want to be feeling like this lethargic, this worn out. 190 is really wearing me out. Now, all of this is covered up by the idea that I feel good. There is no pain, there's no nothing. It's nothing like this. So I am over the moon about all of this. Even when I'm feeling really beat down, I'm not feeling pain. I'm just systemically tired. I'm just worn out. So it's a programming issue right now. How I'm going to go about that. Maybe I'll spend another week. So this is what I'm thinking. Maybe spend another week hitting 5 sets of 5 or maybe 7 sets of 5 of 180, and then come back to 190 and hit it with authority. You know what I mean? Hit it like I meant it. You know what I mean? Maybe I jumped over the 180 gap too quickly. From memory, I went 180 for 3 sets of 5, 180 for 5 by 5, and then 180 for 7 sets of 5. So in a week, I jumped over 180. Maybe I should spend some more time in the 180 period just to give myself a bit more time for recovery, for the adaptations to occur. Because I kind of jumped over 180 real quick. I got to 190, and yes, I can hit 1 set of 5, but it's just too heavy and not enough volume. And you guys know what I've said about blood and how it makes you feel good. It makes you feel fresh. It makes the joints feel good. If you spend too long of a time hitting heaps of intensity for not enough volume, you're going to start to break down the joints. You're going to start feeling real bad. So I'd rather you kind of get between 20 to 30 repetitions, total repetitions in the sessions, rather than, settle for, 5 to 10 repetitions, total reps for the working sets at a heavier weight, because that's not enough blood. That's kind of how I'm thinking about it. So this is the 200 kilos quarter squat. I don't know what you want to call it. Box squats. Am I going to do this again? I don't know. I think from now on, I'm going to go back to 180. But it was just an interesting experiment to see how, just because you're feeling fried in one particular exercise doesn't mean the next exercise is going to be the same. Still, it's a squat. It's just I'm doing the top portion of the squat. And I just thought it was remarkable that, all of those symptoms that I was feeling with fatigue and lethargy and just worn out, it was basically that bottom portion between the parallel and the ATG. That kind of core stability was not there. My legs were kind of strong enough, and this is probably why on the footage it looks like it's moving quickly. I'm just having a hell of a time trying to stabilize the core. I was just kind of breaking down, and I don't want to do that. You guys know where I stand when it comes to safety of the spine and safety in general. So it was a kind of interesting session. I kind of ended it on a high note. But I think I'm going to have to go back to 180. I think that's the best thing. I don't know what you guys think is better, to hit heavier weight for less reps or to hit lighter weight for more reps. Don't know. I guess I would probably get over the 190 as well. I could also play like this and just hit 190 for 2 sessions a week instead of 3 sessions a week, right? Or I can do 180 for more volume, 3 sessions a week. So it's whatever you want to prefer. For me, I always lean towards more blood, more pump work, just more health. That's kind of, and it's also better existence to do more volume than to just always kind of go into a fight. I don't want to be fighting the weight every single time I touch it. That's one of the things that, like, you know, as I was walking into the session today, I thought, oh man, I feel crap, feeling kind of under the weather. I don't feel like I want to attack this. It's like that voice was getting more and more of a momentum about it. You know, I was having doubts because I was feeling what I was feeling, and then I thought, okay, 190 is going to be a fight today. But if it was 180, I know 180 is a lot easier, and I can hit that for 5 sets of 5, 7 sets of 5 now. Like, I can do it. The 190 is pushing. I gotta be up for it. But anyway, that was the session. It was kind of a short session, ended up being a playful session that turned into a freaking long session. Anyway, that's it for me, guys. I want to give a shout out to JP Rodas. Another name popped out onto the list. Appreciate you, man. Always appreciate everyone that comes onto this list to support me on my journey. I've said it many times before. I feel like I've won the lottery here. Appreciate you guys. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.